Now we're going to talk about the parts of the hive itself, where the bees are going to live year-round. And if you were to buy a beekeeping kit, this is probably similar to the equipment that you would get. Typically it's made out of wood. There are some versions that are made out of styrene, but if you were to buy a kit, as I say, it's probably going to look like this. I'm going to start with the part that the bees get to keep all year. This set of boxes is a stand-in for the whole of a tree. So if you were to cut down a tree that has bees in it, you'd see pretty much the same sorts of things going on inside that tree as you see in this box. But the reason why we put them in this box is so we can easily manipulate the bees. They're obviously down closer to the ground. We can look for disease to inspect, which is actually a regulation that you'd be able to inspect your bees. And we can remove some frames to harvest the honey. Now the top piece of equipment, whether it's made out of wood and metal or out of foam like this, it's called the top cover. And it's a telescoping top cover in this case because it keeps the rain off by sinking down onto the top of the hive. And whatever form it takes, you're going to want to make sure that it stays on the hive either by strapping it down or putting a big rock on the hive. Underneath that top cover, you'd expect to see right inside the hive, but you don't. We typically use an inner cover, which looks like this. It typically has a notch in it, and a deep side and a shallow side. And this inner cover allows us to do some manipulations like feeding and controlling the airflow in the hive. You'll learn about that as you learn about beekeeping. It also has a very practical aspect that the bees will stick the hive to the inner cover, but you can still get the top cover off without having to pry it off. Without that, it can sometimes be hard. Looking inside the hive, typically there are 10 frames in the hive. You can see all 10 down here. And these frames come in several different styles, but they're essentially all the same shape, whatever they're made out of. And this is a frame feeder. This is the feeder I would recommend, but it's probably not going to come with your kit. A different type of feeder will. But if you're going to keep bees for years and years, I would recommend getting something like this. The beauty of this feeder is it's inside the hive, and only the bees in this hive can get to this feeder. You fill it up with sugar water, but you'll learn about that. If you're not feeding the bees, then you would be replacing that with the frame that fell off the table and